Hi, I'm back with another episode of My Car Story, and today we've got something really special. I'm here in the western suburbs of Chicago with a 1965 Chevrolet Impala SS Super Sport that carries a story deeper than its mirror-finished paint. This isn't just a restoration, this is a tribute. And the man who brought this car back to life did it for someone who can't be here to see it, but I promise you, he's watching from that big garage in the sky. I'm standing here with the owner, and before we even pop the hood, I need you to understand what this car represents. See, this exact model, a '65 Impala SS with a 396, was the car his older brother Lou drove back in high school. His brother Lou was the guy who got him into cars in the first place. Lou was the one turning wrenches in the driveway while his younger brother watched, learning, absorbing, falling in love with everything automotive. Lou passed away, and when that happened, his brother knew exactly what he had to do. He had to find this car. Not just any '65 Impala, but the Super Sport, the SS, the one with the 396 big block, just like Lou had. And then he had to restore it to a level that would make Lou proud. We're going to walk through every inch of this restoration today. We're going to talk about what it takes to bring a car back to this level of correctness, how you hunt down the right parts, the right decals, the right bolts. We're going to take it for a ride, hear that 396 rumble, and we're going to remember Lou. So come along with me. Let's dive into this beautiful tribute. Now, my first car was a 1965 Bel Air, so I've got a soft spot for these. Your first car always stays with you, doesn't it? But I have to tell you, my Bel Air was nowhere near this good. This car, what we're looking at right here, is about as good as a 1965 Impala can get. You see, if you look at the front grille, you'll see the word Impala right there, nice and bold. You'll see it again on the tail. But when you come alongside the car, right here on the quarter panel, you don't see Impala, you see Super Sport. That's the badge that matters. That's what separates this from the base models, from the Biscaynes and Bel Airs. The SS package in 1965 wasn't just cosmetic. You got bucket seats, you got a center console, you got the full instrumentation, and if you optioned it right like this one, you got the 396 cubic inch big block V8. This particular car has the 325 horsepower version. Now there was a higher output version, the 425 horsepower turbojet, which was an absolute monster, but the 325 was no slouch. It was smooth, it was strong, and it had torque for days, and it moved this nearly 2-ton car with authority. Let me give you some context here. In 1965, Chevrolet sold over 1 million Impalas. That's right, over 1 million. It was the best-selling car in America, but only a fraction of those were super sports, and an even smaller fraction came with the 396. Most people ordered the 287 or the 327 small blocks, so what you're looking at here is relatively rare, especially in this condition. The owner found this car in the city of Chicago. A guy had bought it with plans to restore it, looked at the scope of the work, and decided it was too much. But the car was complete. That's the key word, complete. All the trim, all the badges, the original frame, the original floors. It wasn't a rust bucket that needed to be rebuilt from the ground up. It was a solid foundation. And it took him 1 year to bring it back to this. 1 year. That tells me he was on a mission. He wasn't doing this casually. He was doing this for Lou. Let's open the hood, because this is where the magic really starts to show. Look at this. Just take a moment and look at this. Everything you see here is correct, and I don't mean close enough correct. I mean judged at a high level correct. You see that decal on the air cleaner? That's the right decal, in the right position, with the right orientation. Those hose clamps? Those are the right style. The way the wiring is routed? Correct. The paint marks on the bolts? Correct. This is what separates a good restoration from a great one. Anybody can drop an engine in a car and make it run, but to do it like this, where every detail takes you back to 1965, that requires research, that requires patience, that requires obsession. I asked him how he figured all this out, where he got the information. He told me he spent hours on the internet, looking at original unrestored cars, studying factory manuals, joining forums, messaging other restorers. He'd look at pictures of cars that had been sitting untouched in barns for decades, because those were the ones that still had all the factory details intact. Then he'd cross-reference that with the assembly manuals, the dealer literature, the service bulletins. He's a mechanic by trade, and he credits his brother Lou for that. Lou was the one who got him into working on cars. He'd watch Lou out in the driveway, wrenching away, and that's how he learned. That's how the passion started. So when it came time to restore this car, he wasn't just rebuilding an engine, he was honoring the guy who taught him how. You can see it in the details. Look down here at the motor mounts. Look at how the hardware is finished. Look at the way the brake lines are routed. This isn't someone slapping parts together. This is someone who visualizes how the car looked rolling off the assembly line in 1965 and then makes it happen. And here's something cool. See this component right here? That's part of the Pleasure Ride air suspension system. Back in the day, if you were buying an Impala, you might be using it as a family car. You'd load up 5, 6 people, maybe tow a small trailer, and the rear end would sag. So Chevrolet offered this add-on system that let you pump air into the rear shocks to level the car out. There's a little compressor under the left front fender, and inside the car, there's a control that lets you adjust the pressure. It's kind of like the air suspension systems you see in modern trucks and SUVs, except this is 1965 technology, and it works. We'll show you later. Now, this car has the 325 horsepower 396, but he told me he's also got a 425 horsepower version sitting in storage. That's the L78 big block, the one with the solid lifter cam, the 4-bolt mains, the high compression heads. That engine was a certified street brawler. If he ever decides to swap that in, this car is going to be an absolute animal. But for now, this 325 is perfect. It's smooth, it's strong, and it sounds incredible. All right, let's fire this thing up and move it around so we can show you the back. Engine starts, rumbles to life. Listen to that. Dual exhaust, nice and throaty, but not obnoxiously loud. Just the right amount of muscle car growl. Now, one of the distinctive features of the Impala, especially the 65, is the taillights. You've got 6 of them back here. 2 taillights, 2 brake lights, and 2 reverse lights. The Biscayne and the Bel Air didn't get the reverse lights, so they only had 4. But the Impala got all 6, and it gives the back of the car this wide, aggressive stance. You'll notice there's another Impala badge right here on the trunk lid, and a small SS emblem as well. That's the only other Supersport badge on the car besides the one on the quarter panel. Chevrolet was subtle about the SS branding in 65. It wasn't in your face like the muscle cars that came later in the 60s and early 70s. It was refined, understated, classy. Let's pop the trunk and check the trunk and treats. Look at this, just as detailed as the engine bay. You've got the original jack, the original spare tire, all the correct fasteners and hold-downs. There's even a collection of original dealer brochures and documentation in here, which we'll go through in detail in the video description if you want to see them up close. One thing I want to point out, the fuel filler is right here in the trunk. You lift this little door and that's where you'd fill up. It's a quirky design choice by today's standards, but back then it kept the exterior lines clean, no fuel door interrupting the body side. All right, let's move to the interior because that's where this car really shines. Look at that door sill. You've got the Body by Fisher badge, the SS emblem, and the nice carpeting that flows right into the interior. Power windows, which was a luxury feature in 1965. And check out the seat belts. They're the original style lap belts, just like they would have been from the factory. Now, if you had air conditioning from the factory, you'd see this little badge right here on the dash. Not every Impala had air, but this one does, and it still works. There's also a power antenna, which is mounted in the rear. That was a Supersport thing. The regular Impalas had the antenna on the front fender, but the SS moved it to the back for a cleaner look. All right, let me get inside and show you what you're greeted with. This definitely reminds me of my 65 Bel Air, except it didn't have those air conditioning vents, and it sure didn't have this beautiful SS-specific console. Look at this. You've got the working clock right here, the SS badge, the shifter for the Power Glide automatic transmission. Everything is clean, everything is correct. The dashboard is classic mid-60s Chevrolet, simple, functional, elegant. You've got your speedometer, your fuel gauge, your warning lights. If you option the car right, you could get additional gauges, but this one has the standard setup, which is totally fine. It's honest. It's how most of these cars were sold. One cool detail, you've got ashtrays on both sides of the dash, because in 1965, everybody smoked. And you've got that iconic 2-prong horn in the center of the steering wheel. Now here's something really special. See these floor mats? These are the original mats from 1965. He found them with the car, and they're so old that the rubber is actually breaking down. You can see the oils leaching out of them, giving them that glossy sheen. He keeps them in the car because they're part of the history, part of the story. And speaking of the story, look at this. This pillow right here, the one that says Lou on it, that's made from his brother's work shirt. Lou used to work at a marina, and this was his uniform. After he passed, the family had it turned into a pillow, and it rides in the back seat of this car. So in a way, Lou is still here. He's still riding along. That gets me, man. That's what this hobby is about. It's not just about the cars. It's about the people, the memories, the connections. All right, let's take this thing for a ride. We're out on the road now, and I have to tell you, this car drives beautifully. The 396 has plenty of power. It's smooth, it's responsive, and the exhaust note is just perfect. You can feel the torque when you step on it, but it's not harsh or rough. It's a gentleman's muscle car. The ride quality is surprisingly good. These big Impalas were designed to cruise, to eat up highway miles, and that's exactly what this feels like. The suspension soaks up the bumps, the steering is light and easy, and the whole experience is just relaxing. I asked him what it's like driving this car knowing it's a tribute to his brother. He said it's sentimental. Every time he gets behind the wheel, he thinks about Lou. He thinks about watching Lou work on cars in the garage, learning from him, becoming a mechanic because of him. This car is a rolling memory, a way to keep that connection alive. And when he takes it to car shows, people are blown away. A 65 Impala SS with a 396 and factory air conditioning restored to this level of correctness, that's something you don't see every day. People come up, they ask questions, they take pictures, they share their own stories. That's the magic of the car community. You know, it's a perfect day for this. The sun is out, the roads are clear, and we're in a car that represents everything good about the hobby. Passion, dedication, craftsmanship, and most importantly, love. All right, we're back, and I've got a little bonus for you. Remember I mentioned the Pleasure Ride air suspension system? Let me show you how it works. So right here, you've got the control for the rear air suspension. When you've got a bunch of people in the car and the rear end is sagging, you push this button, turn the dial, and it activates a little compressor under the left front fender. The compressor pumps air into the rear shocks, and you can literally watch the car level out. See that? The rear end lifts, the car sits level again, and when you let people out, you release the pressure and it drops back down. It's such a cool piece of 1960s engineering, and the fact that it still works is a testament to how well this restoration was done. Tony, I just want to say this is a real privilege. Getting to ride in your brother's car, seeing the work you put into it, hearing the story behind it. This is what My Car Story is all about. You've done Lou proud. I know he's looking down from that garage in heaven, and he's smiling. Thank you for sharing this with us. All right, everyone, if you enjoyed this story, if you appreciate the level of detail and passion that goes into a restoration like this, do me a favor, leave a comment and tell us about a car that reminds you of someone special. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's someone you lost. The cars are important, but the people behind them, those are the stories that matter. And if you're new here, subscribe. We've got more stories like this coming your way. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.